What's good, family? Shout out to my doggy, NR89, for coming through and boosting up your man the YB coin. It's all been kicking off right now regarding Eddie from Down Bad Room Promotions and your man's Lawerence Okolie. Yeah, here we go then. Let's take it from the rip. You've seen the title. These allegations are a few days old now. I thought I'd wait until it simmered down to jump back on it again. Jump back on and make sure the beef, make sure the hype, make sure the drama keeps simmering along. Like I said, Okolie's made allegations that Eddie is the number one whip cracking cat from the 1800s cotton fields in the USA. That's what Lawerence Okolie alleges. Yeah, and I'm going to give you a breakdown of how the beef transpired, because most people misconstrue it, thinking it all just happened in a few tweets. That's not how it went down. The first thing happened a few weeks ago, and that's what you're going to see right here, no doubt.
So you are with Eddie Hearn, no?
At the moment.
At the moment.
Yeah.
So you only have one fight left?
I can't talk about it right now. When is this live?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then, yeah, I'm with Eddie.
I love that one. Oops. Okay. So, because my thing is...
So there's the first slip up from Okolie. Don't forget, not being funny, yeah? As far as I was concerned, up until this video dropped from the boxing voice, I was thinking Lawerence Okolie was more than grateful with his relationship with Eddie Hearn. Bear in mind, people, Lawerence Okolie isn't exactly the next Anthony John Stewart. Yeah, his style is boring, as you like. Super duper boring. Even when he fights bums, he's boring. Yeah, he hasn't got a massive profile, and he's making big money. So I'm thinking, wow, man, he must be nice. And then obviously, the first thing we hear about it is the video you just saw. Okolie basically saying he looking to go somewhere else. And then when he clocks on and realises that the TV's live, oh no, I'm with Eddie Hearn. So you already know that Lawerence Okolie isn't being truthful, or he's got something to hide, bottom line. Yeah, because if he didn't, he'd have said, listen, Eddie's dead and I'm leaving, live or not live, oops. So you already know anything that happens after this point, and this happened long before the slave comment, so it begs the question, why is my man talking about slave when he already knew he was looking to make moves? Which is it? Are you looking to make moves on your own accord, or is it Eddie's fault? Oops. Yeah, anyway, let's get to it. So that video, as you saw, got put out. After that, a few weeks after, that's when the tweets come out. And this was a tweet. The first thing was, Lawerence Okolie put a tweet out saying, to be honest, Eddie Hearn is a blank. And then he posted. So imagine on Twitter, yeah, your most recent post is there, the next one's here. So he goes from, to be honest, Eddie is a question mark, and then he's got Mr. Candyland. What was his name? Justin Candy, I don't know, some next plantation Donny Candy, Mr. Candy, Massa Candy. Yeah? So he's gone from, to be honest, Eddie Hearn is Master Candy. Loves his bullers fight, make sure his bucks be fighting. Yeah? Great movie, loads of lessons in this one. So bottom line is, I actually half respected Okolie when he was throwing out the proper directs. Who can't, in my opinion, no one can argue with directs. If you're directly tagging someone and letting them know, listen, I want the squabbles or I want the beef, so be it. But then unfortunately, in true 2022 fashion, Lawerence Okolie's female pheromones came back in, and he switched back to the indirecting. Oh, great movie, loads of lessons. Say what you want to say, my G. Yeah? If you want to call Eddie Hearn Mr. Candyland, call Eddie Hearn Mr. Candyland. Yeah? After all, are you not a big 6'6", 220-pound Nick? What is this? Yeah? Big 6'6", 220-pound Nick, and he all nervous. Oh, I don't want to call a spade a spade. Let me just post up on the internet like a number one female don, and just be posting indirects. Oh, yeah, I wonder if Eddie will see this one. That's how females operate. Yeah, like I said, say what you gotta say. Say what you wanna say. Say what's on your mind, or don't. That's how I feel. Yeah, if you got things to say about Eddie Hearn, say them. Don't be doing all this next antics, estrogen antics. Anyway, obviously after that, Eddie Hearn then replied, and this is what he said.
I paid him an absolute fortune. I bought him a 50 grand watch because I'm true to my word, and I always promised I would. And I feel that we've done an amazing job for Lawerence Okolie. Amazing job. So I was disappointed with what I saw last night, in all honesty, and I don't mind saying it. He's had an offer, clearly, that obviously there's ongoing issues around that. We have a fight left in our agreement. His lawyers acknowledged that as well. We expect him to honour that.
So, off the rip, listen, let's put all the female antics to one side, yeah? Let's address Lawerence Okolie's allegations. He's saying Eddie Hearn is some sort of slave master. The reason he's saying that, obviously, as we found out in this video, the bottom line is Lawerence Okolie's had a better offer from Sky, and he wants to leave to maximise his income and renege, or whatever, either way, not fulfill his contract with Matchroom. Now, unfortunately, Lawerence Okolie, the fact you signed a contract that you was more than, listen, you was grinners with that contract. Don't make me go back and get them old videos. Oh, Massa Hearn, I love Hearns. I love him, he a good Massa. That's what you were saying, 100%. After you got signed, oh man, Eddie Hearn the best, and he better than all the rest. He a good Massa, that's what you were saying. Yeah? And that's what I don't rate about these cats. You're all overpaid anyway. Eddie Hearn was grossly, if I hear Lawerence Okolie's made more than 50 grand, he's overpaid. Yeah, because he ain't done no real proper work, in my opinion. He the bum slayer. And the worst thing is, he don't even slay bums. He go 50-50 with them. Drag it out for 12 rounds. Told you man before, at least Wilder, when he went in there with some next Euro bummed on, they got smoked. He rolled their pack up and smoked on it. All the fully. This cat here, Okolie, going 12 round, 50-50 with them. So what exactly are you complaining about? The fat Eddie Hearn gave Okolie a 50 grand watch here for nothing. That shows Okolie's likely been making between 500 grand to $1 million a pop per fight. Yeah, or recently since he's become champion. That is outrageous when you consider the value. What's he really delivering back? Whatever we say about Wilder, at least Wilder knocked them guys out. That's entertainment. Okolie's going in there with these bum guys, making 500 grand, $1 million, and delivering what? 12 round. And it's not even a 12 round fight where you can say, well, YB, Okolie's in there and he's hitting the guy with loads of shots. No. It was 12 rounds of pure boringness. Yeah? Fair enough. Not even fair enough. Ultimately, when you sign a contract, you signed a contract, and it's only one more fight. What's stopping you? Do the fight, Okolie, and then move on. Keep it pushing. That's how business usually works. What's all this throwing your toys out the pram? Just because you want to be greedy, essentially. And if you didn't like it, don't sign the contract. If you didn't want to do 4 fights, you should have signed it for free. But at the time, there weren't no better offers, because Eddie Hearn was with Sky, and it was what it was. You felt like you were the best man. So live out what you've signed up for. Unfortunately, it's got nothing to do with Hearn being a slave, this or that, anything to do with that. It's to do with you being a man and fulfilling the obligations you signed up for. That's where it starts and that's where it ends. Not to mention, like Eddie Hearn said, he has no doubt continued to support you. Many other promoters would have dropped you by now. Because what are you delivering? You ain't delivering no blockbuster numbers. You ain't delivering no blockbuster knockouts. So what are you delivering? You aren't, in my opinion, Lawerence Okolie's career for the most part has been almost expensed on AJ, in as much as Eddie Hearn has carried Okolie on the basis that, okay, well, AJ's bringing in 20 mil, we can afford to lose $1 million on Okolie. That's how it's been structured, unfortunately. I guarantee you Lawerence Okolie ain't making money, or Lawerence Okolie's events barely breaking even, if you get what I'm saying. He a losing asset right now. And all that's changed is, and that's one thing I will say against Eddie Hearn. There was a time Eddie Hearn, was all bragging and saying, oh, we don't even use contracts. Frank Warren uses contracts. I just have a handshake because we know we're that good. So I do have to admit, Eddie Hearn does need to humble himself now and say that he ain't that loosey-goosey. There was a time Eddie Hearn, I don't use contracts, that's Eddie Hearn. I don't go to court, that's Frank Warren. We don't need contracts, we're just that good. We're so good, we don't even need a contract. Oops. So now you found yourself in the same position as Frank, enforcing contracts legally and sending out warning letters. So now Eddie Hearn, unfortunately, people, this really is, anyone who don't believe it, this is evidence that the fall is here in that sense. Because 3-4 years ago, again, Mr. Eddie Hearn said he don't need no contracts because he was that red hot. In reality, all the only real thing was he had Sky. And Sky, they are where the money is. And that's what this is proving right now. Sky have the huge bankroll. Yeah, huge bankroll. And listen, I don't even disagree with Okolie. Okolie should do what he's got to do after he's fulfilled his contract. Yeah, because, Eddie Hearn says, I've treated him really well. Scrap treating him really well, Eddie, because guess what? Sky can say the same thing to you. Sky, especially from what we know now, Sky categorically have made Eddie Hearn's career. If Eddie Hearn hadn't got the exclusive Sky deal, I'm sure we wouldn't be sitting here now. And the fact that a new Don called Ben Chalong has come up and essentially cucked half of Eddie's business shows it's nothing to do with skill, is it? If it was to do with skill, well, what are you telling me? It's one or the other. Either Eddie Hearn and Ben Chalong are super duper skillful, or the common denominator really is the Sky. Whoever's with Sky, they're the ones who move and shake. Yeah? Because when Eddie Hearn was with Sky, he was the one nicking all of Frank's fighters. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them ones. Now, it's Ben Chalong with Sky, brand new dude, and he nicking all the fighters, and Eddie Hearn's having to basically do all the things he said he wouldn't do. Eddie Hearn at one point said he don't take fighters to court, he doesn't need to, he just knows he provides such a good service, fighters will never leave. Well, oops, and he's one of them ones now. Yeah, and what I was going to say was, Eddie Hearn implies almost as if he expects some loyalty. I've treated him really well, I don't know what's going on, but as I was about to say, in all fairness, Eddie, Sky feel the same way about you. Sky put you on and made your career. What did you do though? Yeah, and arguably Eddie Hearn was even making some sly deals behind closed doors before he was actually officially out of the Sky thing. Don't forget that, people. Do you remember? The Sky deal finished in June, I think it was, this year. But 3 months before that, Eddie Hearn was putting in things in motion, like the AJ 10-fight deal, and at the time, Sky weren't very happy with that. Do you get what I'm saying? So, all this proves is that people are people and people are greedy. And this is ultimately karma coming round. The same way Eddie Hearn left Sky for more money, Okolie is leaving Eddie Hearn for more money. That's all it comes down to. If Eddie Hearn was super principled, he'd have said, you know what, DAZN, I love your offer, it gives us much more money, but Sky have made my career and I'm going to ride it out with them for the foreseeable future. He didn't say that. He put things in motion 3 months before the contract was over to help DAZN out, ready for when he would leave Sky, and the rest is history. So this really is a lesson to everyone in the world right now. Don't expect anything to come above money, especially in this day and age. There is no morals, there is no character or whatever. It's all about the coin. Yeah, and Okolie, he must get his. And right now, Ben Chalong feel like, to me, Ben Chalong and Sky are acting like Eddie Hearn was 5 years ago. Not very sure if they're running prudent business. Do you remember when Eddie Hearn came along with DAZN 3 years ago, yeah, and he was splashing cash everywhere, and 3 years later, they've got nothing to show for it. I feel a bit like Sky doing that. Sky have come in on the back foot almost, having to build a stable. And I've heard some guy called Ben Whittaker, I think, got a huge deal, and all these Fabio Wardley, all these dudes, yeah, who are sceptical, in my opinion, getting huge deals. Great for them, but I'm not sure, number one, how good it's going to be for Sky in the long term, but most importantly, from my point of view, I'm not sure how good it's going to be for the sport, full stop. Because what do we know, in particular in the year of 2022? Most times in these cats' careers, yeah, the only time we see them half decent is when they're half broke, innit? Let's be real now. Look at AJ. AJ was best, yeah, when he was broke and on the come up. His last real proper fight really was maybe Dillian White, certainly Klitschko, and after that, he went super duper soft. So that's why I tell you, the fact these guys like Okolie now, I mean, Okolie's boring anyway. What's he going to do now? He's potentially financially made. Okolie didn't want to take no risk anyway. What's he going to do now? Oh, you know, I've got, I don't know, 3-4 mil in the bank. Making huge money that you're not really, people can say, oh, YB, they are earning it. I'm telling you, from a boxing market point of view, Okolie ain't worth millions. Based on what he's showing us. His style is boring. Takes no risk whatsoever. Even when he's in there with people who are clearly inferior. Doesn't dare let his hands go. And he's getting offered the big huge bags. I don't know. I can't explain it. I can't explain it at all. Yeah, he's got a world championship belt. Who cares? Everyone's got one in this day and age. It's 4 of them. Do you know what I'm saying? Everyone got a belt. Innit? So I understand it's based on competition. Well, we've got to buy a fighter somewhere. If we don't offer Okolie a good deal, he won't leave Eddie. So I get that, but it's kind of like, what happened to people like the BBC of old? What happened to the people like HBO who just said, I think what boxing needs right now is networks leaving the game, saying, you know what, we're not. There's no business in this. I don't believe there is. I don't believe there is a business paying these guys the amount of money they're making. But there must be. I don't know how you explain it. It must be the fans. You fan cuck-dons must be so desperate to watch bum fights that you're paying for them still. That's the only explanation. Because in reality, based on the quality we're seeing, every broadcaster should be dropping out, saying, you know what, we can't afford it. Because these bums go in there, they only fight bums, number one. And when they do step up, they shit their pants and don't get stuck in. Look at the reality here. Look at AJ. What's he done? When was the last time AJ provided real value? When was it? Go on. When was the last time you saw AJ do what he's supposed to do? Years ago. But yet he's still making 100 million record payday. I don't get it. Maybe it's just me though. Maybe you man well, you must be. I must be wrong. Yeah, the fans must be proper in love with the quality that AJ's providing, because the numbers don't lie, do they? So right, fair play to you, man. Yeah, you man must have more money than sense. I'll tell you this for free. There's not in a month for Sundays. I'm backing half of these dudes. Not Okolie, not AJ. Go in there, Mr. Pity Pay. Against bums. And whatever we say about AJ, to be fair with AJ, at least he knocked the bums out most of the time. Complete bums. I'm not talking about Usyk and Ruiz, but I'm talking about when AJ fought complete bums, they got knocked out. Okolie, what's he doing? It's even worse. And I'm not even putting Okolie on AJ's level, but you know what I'm saying? It's all, in my opinion, it's all got out of whack. And the fact, it's almost ironic, or I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but it's almost, I'm not sure, but it's almost something that Okolie, the man who's grossly overpaid, doesn't provide much value, is out here talking about slave master. If anyone's a slave master, it's Okolie. Okolie is a slave master of the fans. Yeah? Cucked us all, essentially. We're all paying him money and getting naffle back. That's how I feel. If anyone's been shortchanged here, yeah? If anyone's been done wrong, it's the fans. It's not Okolie, in my opinion. Okolie right now should be saying, listen, Eddie, I'm super duper grateful for what you've done for me. Which is take me out of McDonald's, take me out of Mackie D's, yeah, and put me on. And I'm so even more grateful now for Sky for boosting me up some more. There's no way, in my opinion, Okolie should be looking to neg on his contract. I just don't see that one from his position, apart from pure raw greed. And I'm not saying, is Eddie Hearn greedy? Absolutely, but you can't knock Eddie. He fulfills his contracts. Yeah? You don't hear about fighters. When was the last time you heard of a fighter, yeah, flopping, and Eddie Hearn saying, oh, we had you for another fight, but because you flopped in your last fight, we're not going to fulfill the contract. You don't hear that. Other promoters in the past have done things like that, not Eddie. So on that basis, I respect Eddie enough to... I mean, Eddie plays by the rules. Do what you signed up for. You can't knock that. And there's no amount of... what do they call it? There's no amount of pulling weird cards out. Oh, I've got this special card. It's called the slave card. And also, I've got more videos coming soon, but it's actually shocking to see the amount of overpaid millionaire fighters coming out and jumping on the bandwagon. You got Billy Joe Saunders. He came out saying, yeah, Eddie, Okolie's right. You had Derek Chisora at the weekend. Yeah, Eddie, when are you going to start paying me properly? Paying you properly. And yeah, Chisora gets stuck in, but still, let's be realistic here, Chisora. Yeah? Be realistic here. If you're making 500 grand or $1 million for what we just saw, you should be over the moon about that. About pay me properly. You'd have, honestly, the way Chisora's carrying on, you'd have thought he'd just knock Pulev out in the first or second round, to be honest. That's how I felt Chisora was carrying on. Like he just did something that was spectacular. Yeah, or better yet, the way Chisora was carrying on was like he just knocked out Usyk, to be honest with you. That's how, fair enough, yeah. If Chisora had knocked Usyk out, and Chisora then said, Eddie Hearn, pay me properly, I'll be on here now saying, yeah, Eddie, man, Chisora needs to be put on now. He's done something that's truly above his worth. But Chisora's been getting top card, headline paydays, which we know from Matchroom are between 500 grand and $1 million, baseline. He's been getting them for donkey's years and losing all of them. Don't forget, it was only how long ago? A few months ago, he got the headline Parker versus Chisora bag. That might even have been on pay-per-view. Do you know what I'm saying? So don't give me that about, I don't know, man. It's all back to front. And these guys are massively overpaid. And the value they deliver is negligible on the amount they're making. The way Eddie Hearn has treated Okolie, he should be sucking Eddie Hearn off, in my opinion. If there was a balance between suck Eddie off or slave master, Okolie would be on the suck off side every time. Based on what I've seen and based on the facts. Yeah? Now, Okolie, the thing is, chances are, now I ain't even going to lie to you, Okolie, to be fair to him, he does actually want the biggest fights. I'm not going to blame him. No one wants to fight him. Because it's so long and it's so awkward. And boring, essentially. But still, chances are, Okolie, you're going to be fighting a bum anyway. So why not just fight the bum with Eddie and then keep it moving? I feel it's very poor management on all accounts. Why? And that's the thing. Lawerence Okolie is managed, I believe, by 258 Management, which is AJ's management team. So I'm kind of thinking, how has this come about? I can't believe, well, I can believe actually, because 258 Management, I've been telling you, man, they're dopey, they haven't got a clue what they're doing. But it's kind of like, how is Okolie being advised to try and pull this move? There's no upside whatsoever. Because also, if you're thinking about your career long-term, Okolie, yeah, it's all well and good chasing the big money now, but you don't want to become one of them guys who's known as the man who don't fulfill contracts. That's no good. In the long run, people will be thinking, well, I don't want to sign a deal with Okolie because if he gets a better offer 2 fights in, he's going to leave anyway. And half the reason these guys put up big money is to lock you in. Not to mention the other risks. Look at Andre Ward and other people who've been involved in contract disputes. Eddie Hearn might just put you on the sideline now. You know what I mean? Eddie Hearn might just tell you to sit down somewhere for 5 years and let's hash it out in court. Oops. Yeah? And to be honest, if I was Eddie and I had that, I'm not sure of the actual legal possibility here, but based on what Okolie said, if I was Eddie Hearn, I'll be speaking to the lawyers now and saying, you know what, let this cat sit down somewhere. Yeah, let's give him the Bob Arum. Sit down for 5 years and let's see how you feel. Yeah, you know what I mean? Walk it off. Yeah, walk it off for 5 years. Sit down. You know what I mean? That's what I'll be telling him. And then, because don't forget, back in the early 2010s, all you heard from Andre Ward saying, oh man, I haven't been able to fight. Well, Mikey Garcia, I haven't been able to fight for 5 years. Yeah, that's what happened. Cool off. Yeah, take a seat for 5 years. How about that? And you'll be quickly grateful when you've wasted your whole career, whole prime, sitting down somewhere because you thought you were trying to play a quick move. And that's what in my opinion, that's what he deserves. And listen, told you before, if Okolie was doing things that was super duper hot, I wouldn't even mind the play, honestly. If Okolie was breathtaking in his performances, and that's the thing, I know Eddie would do the same thing. So the same way I just told you, that if Lawerence Okolie's performance was red hot, I guarantee you Eddie would have most likely won the bet. The reason your contract ain't getting boosted by Eddie Hearn, Okolie, is to do with you. But in 2022, yeah, people ain't trying to hear that. And all of the man fans around Okolie ain't trying to tell him that. Like, wait a minute, Okolie. If you want your coins boosted, why don't you put a proper performance in and stop going life and death with Eurobums? Yeah? Let's start there. You fix your side of the equation. Eddie Hearn would love to pay you more if he was bringing it home. Because all that Sky are doing now is inflating. Sky aren't coming in, and Sky don't have better valuation models than Eddie Hearn, in my opinion. Eddie Hearn's at the back end, or Eddie Hearn's over the peak now, in as much as that early DAZN money's long gone. DAZN have had a meeting. I did a video a few months ago telling you, man, DAZN have sat Eddie Hearn down and told him, no more frilly rubbish. You best operate like a business now, because you've blown about 500 million or whatever it was. So all that frilly, now Eddie Hearn's gone to the hard business. He's actually running it now properly. No more freebies. No more free bets, yeah? No more free spins. Sky, on the other hand, they're now doing the whole DAZN strategy, overpaying. But from Okolie's point of view, or from a boxing point of view, in reality, Eddie Hearn's absolutely correct. Yeah? Okolie is only being overpaid. It's not a case of Slave would be, oh, why be Eddie Hearn's underpaying. If Eddie Hearn was, I can guarantee you Eddie Hearn is not underpaying Okolie. We all know that from what we've seen. Yeah? Now, if Okolie was starching everyone in early rounds, we have a different conversation. No doubt. Anyway, it's all funny stuff. Let's not forget that. The drama's funny. Eddie ended it. Eddie got thick skin. But I do think, is Eddie genuine? Does Eddie Hearn love these guys? I don't think so. But as far as doing and fulfilling the things that are in the contract, no one's better than Eddie at doing that. I'm sorry. No one fulfills a contract like Eddie Hearn in this game. He almost revolutionised the game in that sense, being down to a T. And in fact, not only that, little things like, I know it's relatively small amount of money, but what other promoters are giving out 50 grand watches? Yeah, little things like that going over and above. Again, it's peanuts to Eddie, but still. Yeah, who else doing that? I don't see Frank Warren handing out big watches, or whatever it is. So, you have to bear that little things in mind as well. 100%.